she walked into the courtroom carrying something no one expected: a gun. Her 7-year-old daughter had been murdered, and the man accused of killing her was sitting just a few feet away, waiting for his trial to continue. Then Marianne Bachmeier stood up, pulled a Beretta from her bag, and opened fire. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She just sat back down and waited for the police. The courtroom fell silent. The man who had killed her daughter was dead, and now Marianne was the one who would be standing trial. But what happened next divided an entire country. Welcome back to Fruit of Evils. Today, we're not looking at a serial killer, a con artist, or a criminal mastermind. Today, we're looking at a mother and the 30 seconds that turned her into one of the most talked about women in the history of German crime. Marianne Bachmeier was born in June 3, 1950, in a small town in Lower Saxony to parents who'd fled East Prussia after the war. It wasn't a warm household, strict, religious. Her father was a hard man. By the time she was an adult, she'd already had a rough road: 2 earlier children given up for adoption before she settled in the port city of Lübeck, running a small pub, raising her 3rd child, a 7-year-old girl named Anna, mostly on her own. By all accounts, Anna was a bright, easygoing kid, friendly with the neighbors. The kind of 7-year-old who'd wander over to a neighbor's apartment just because he had kittens. So far, this is a story about a single mother trying to build a normal life for her daughter in a small German city. That's the part that makes what's coming so hard to hear. One of those neighbors was a man named Klaus Grabowski. 35 years old, a butcher by trade, lived nearby. On the surface, unremarkable. Anna had visited his place before. Nothing about it had ever seemed dangerous. But Grabowski was already known to police, convicted more than once for sexually abusing young girls. And here's the detail that turns this from a tragedy into a scandal. Years earlier, Grabowski had voluntarily undergone chemical castration, a treatment meant to suppress those urges permanently. At some point after that, he started hormone therapy, and according to his own defense team, that treatment reversed the effects of the castration. So the system that was supposed to have neutralized him may have quietly put him back together. May 5, 1980. Anna had an argument with her mother that morning and decided to skip school. She ended up at Grabowski's apartment. He held her there for hours. Grabowski assaulted her, then strangled her with a pair of his fiancé's tights. Afterward, he packed her body into a box and left it by the edge of a canal, like something to be gotten rid of. He was only caught because his own fiancée went to the police. A year later, in March 1981, Grabowski finally stood trial for Anna's murder. And in that courtroom, his defense strategy became almost impossible to sit through. His lawyers leaned hard on the hormone therapy angle, arguing his body chemistry, not his character, was to blame. And Grabowski himself, according to multiple accounts, grew bold enough during proceedings to walk back parts of his own confession, effectively rewriting the story of what he'd done to a murdered child in front of her mother in open court. Marianne sat through day 1, day 2. She didn't make it to day 4. On the 3rd day of the trial, Marianne walked into that courtroom with a .22 caliber Beretta hidden in her purse. Before the judge had even called the session to order, she walked up behind Grabowski and opened fire. Reports vary slightly. Some say 7 shots, some say 8, some say 6 struck him, some say 7. What isn't disputed is that he was dead almost instantly, and that Marianne made no attempt to run. When police later gave her a routine handwriting test, she wrote 7 words that ended up in newspapers across the world. "I did it for you, Anna." And next to them, she drew 7 small hearts, 1 for every shot. The reaction across West Germany was immediate and enormous. Crowds gathered outside the courthouse. She reportedly received thousands of letters in jail, many from strangers telling her she'd done what the court should have done years earlier. But not everyone agreed. Critics argued that no matter how monstrous Grabowski was, letting grief override the rule of law inside a courtroom was its own kind of danger. Journalists dug into Marianne's past, and the tabloids didn't hold back. The court ultimately convicted her of manslaughter and illegal firearm possession, not murder. She was sentenced to 6 years. She served about 3 before being paroled. Here's the part most people never hear. After prison, Marianne left Germany entirely. She moved to Nigeria, remarried, and tried to build a quiet life far from the cameras. When that marriage ended, she relocated again to Sicily, where she reportedly spent years working in a hospice, caring for people at the end of their lives. It's hard not to notice the symmetry there. In the mid-1990s, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Only then did she return to Germany, not for the spotlight, but because she had nowhere else left to go. In her final weeks, she agreed to let a journalist film her dying, wanting her story told once more on her own terms. Marianne Bachmeier died on September 17, 1996. She was 46. If you made it this far, justice or vigilantism? Let me know below and subscribe for more chilling true crime stories.